Quetzalcoatl, or at least one of them, who seated in a cave with the Great Earth Mother, revealed the Tonalamatl, or the mysterious calendar, which gave them the Sun-Venus system of reckoning. For it is true in this calendar, the calendar of Central America, that you can identify correctly any day of any year for hundreds of thousands of years with almost no difficulty whatsoever through a series of interlocking calendar devices. We have never developed anything like it in our culture whatever. It is again attributed to the god of the feathered serpent. All these things point to part of this initiate culture. But these people may very well have drifted north, or they may also have resulted from people drifting south from a more northerly region. And I have always felt that if we wanted to understand the true position or the true religion of these mysteries of Central America, that we would do very well to examine the rather shallower remains of our North American tribes. For it is very possibly here that we would see the archetypal devices. We would see the original patterns. Now, there are two ways in which we can approach this. One is to suspect that these migrants wandering from the north downward left some of their tribes behind. Some of their wanderers perhaps did not wish to make the long journey, broke off and did not become part of a parent culture, remained comparatively primitive and provided the wandering tribes of our North American Amerindian group. Or it is possible that stragglers or persons seeking colonization opportunities at a remote time broke away from the southern culture and came up here Malaysian, Polynesian culture. In any event, what is the problem with our North American Indians? Here we have a wide diversity of cultural attainment. Here we have also the indication that on this continent there was a gradual developing of a religious unity. The religious instincts of the North American Indians are surprisingly pure. Although these people were divided into comparatively small culture groups and that they had almost no contact outside of their own clans, these people developed inherently within their nature the most dignified, simple but solemn concepts of religious value. In the entire American Indian complex, there emerges the archetypal, primordial, and inevitable priesthood. And this priesthood is a little difficult for us to restore from our own thinking because of poor terminology, which afflicts us here rather seriously also. The religious leader of the American Indian tribe we call the medicine man. It is a miserable term with no meaning that is comparable to the importance of his position. He was not one of these Indians that wandered around under servitude to some white vendor of patent medicines. The American Indian medicine priest, or whatever we want to call him, anything we really call him, no one will know what we mean unless we say medicine priest, was actually a holy man. He was a saint. He was the hierarchy, he was the agent of deity upon earth for the small world in which he lived. For some reason, nearly all American Indian culture groups divided themselves into three orders, a pattern still followed in the caravans that go across the desert of Mongolia. The moment a caravan is formed, it elects three leaders. in every American Indian tribe there were three leaders. One was the overchief, the supreme ruler of the tribe. The second was the war chief, who had to do with the protection of the people against their enemies and against the emergencies of hazardous events and circumstances. And the third was the medicine chief. And the medicine chief was the priest who counseled. And it was rare indeed that a war chief or even the supreme chief of a tribe would make any important action without consulting the medicine priest. We know, for example, that when we see a Christian priest of the older days in his full canonicals, we find him robed. We find him, therefore, wearing, as was customary among most religions, the androgyne garments of both man and woman. In other words, the priests wore skirted vestments, and still in their robes they wear garments that resemble a feminine attire. The American Indian medicine priests did the same thing. They said among those tribes that the reason for this was that he must be distinguished from other persons, so that if by a chance the tribe was attacked by an enemy, the enemy would not accidentally kill the priest. He was supposed to be inviolate. He was not a warrior. He could never carry arms. But his counsel was considered to be as important to the vanquished and the vanquished, the victor, and he must not be injured in any combat. To do anything to him would be to bring down the wrath of heaven. The medicine priest, therefore, lived in a universe consisting, as he himself expresses it, and I have talked to several about it. I have known medicine priests. I have discussed their philosophy with them. And it is very simple. The universe is divided into three parts, corresponding to heaven, earth, and hell. This they knew long before any white man came here. The three regions of Chaldea, Babylon, and of the ancient Jewish writers. The upper supreme region, the overworld, was the abode of the Manidos, the great spirits. And who were the great spirits, the rulers of the world? The great spirits were the counsel of the eternal Father. For over all peoples, for over all the world, there must finally be one Father. And these Indians did not worship a polytheistic concept essentially. They did not worship many gods any more than the Brahmin or the Buddhist does. They worshiped attributes. They worshiped beings who personified or exemplified various aspects of the supreme deity. This supreme deity they did not know, they did not understand. They admitted this. They could not know this deity according to its essence. They could only know it according to its manifestations. And the primary manifestations of this deity were other deities, which had control over the sky and the stars and the sun and the moon. Therefore, these became the symbols of the supreme invisible cause of all life. Here also, somewhere far above the heavens, in some mysterious abode, was the great medicine lodge. And as you listen to an old Plains Indian telling you about the great medicine lodge, you cannot help but think of the mysterious legends of the Gobi desert of Mongolia and of the temple of Shambhala that rises in the midst of the everlasting sun. The medicine lodge of the Indian is the seat of universal government. The medicine lodge is the place where the elders, the great ones, the Manidos who serve the eternal, sat in solemn council around the council fire, and each one smoked the calumet, or the pipe of peace, and the altar of incense unto the Most High. And here these grave and ancient ones labored forever that their children upon the earth might be led in righteousness and virtue. And it was one Indian that I talked to, and he explained it to me, smiled and said, of course we realize that this great medicine lodge and these great gods and this great Father who is beyond all, that these do not belong to us. They're not just Indians. This is the government of the whole world. We explain it for our own people, that the great one who sits above the monogrove, who is the invisible presence around the council fire, he is not any more Indian than he is anything else. He is life. He is the great one. And wherever people are, anywhere on earth, he is also their same Father. You know, he got around to something we haven't caught up to yet. Namely, that all these things really are names for something that is universal. And out somewhere in the windy Dakotas, they realize this. But in the great cities of our churches, they do not know it yet. Perhaps these Dakotas give better air. And this heaven world is then guarded by a great being. And this great being is the thunderbird, the phoenix. He is a kind of winged creature, perhaps like the cherubs that guarded the gates of Solomon's house. And this thunderbird is the messenger. And every time he flashes his eyes, there is lightning. And when he rubs his great wings together, there is thunder. This is the mysterious messenger between heaven and earth. This is the phoenix, the symbol of the regenerated human soul, the symbol of the truth in man, which is the bridge between earth and heaven. The second region of these Indians, below the sky, is the great expanse of nature itself. Here is the human world. Here is the earth that has been given to man, as old Chief Seattle said. We are the creatures who have been given the right to make this world beautiful. And most of all, as the Indian says, we have the right to leave this world as good as we found it. And we shall do no evil to it. We shall never injure it. We shall never exploit it. We shall not tear down its trees or corrupt its earth. We will not pollute its waters or its air. We will keep them pure for those who come after us. Because if those who came before us had not kept them pure, we could not live here today. So to keep this good earth pure is very important. And to realize that it is large enough for many tribes, for many herds of buffalo, so that all men might have enough, but never large enough for any man to waste anything. Never to kill for sport, never to injure for intent, but always to use wisely and lovingly. And if we must take life, to pray to that life that it will forgive us for what we have had to do. Always thoughtfulness, always care, always prayer, always song to the sunrise, and always the strong song that is sung by the brave man when his time comes to die. This was the simple morality of a powerful cultured group, a great people. And it was worked out upon the broad plain of the earth with its mountains and its valleys. And if there was a sacred place